The world's oldest religion.
A billion followers around the
The
globe.
third largest religion worldwide.
with about many of its followers residing in India.
These are the shared knowledge that most of us have on the religion of Hinduism. On the surface level, we may know its literal meaning, Hindu, which stands for Indian. It is conventional, associated with its native character, ultimately setting it apart from Islam, Jainism, and Buddhism, which were later introduced to the country.
Geographically speaking, aside from its prime location being India, it is also connected to the river Indus, which is said to involve Pakistan as a greater portion of the river. From this, we are introduced to Dravidians, a highly civilized community that settled in riverbanks back in the second millennium.
As we dig deep, there comes an understanding that Hinduism is not actually considered as a single religion, but instead it is an umbrella under which many belief systems of the Indian subcontinent fall. It was originally an exonym used to refer to a group of people, a place, or an idea. But Hindus chose not to resist that identity over time. To be more specific, strong believers of Hinduism choose to refer to the religion as Sanatana Dharma, translating to eternal law or path.
Besides the eternal law being the ultimate center of their faith, this religion holds a strong belief in deities, and every Hindu is entitled to choose the deity they worship. There are also no strict requirements regarding where and how often they worship. The creation of Hinduism is based on two existing accounts: the Aryan invasion theory, centering on Dravidians being influenced by Aryan invaders, and the Aryan migration theory, claiming that Aryans just migrated.
Let us now explore Hinduism's sacred writings and texts. Now, what do we already know about this anyway? Probably just the basics, that the Sanskrit was the language utilized by Aryans in establishing their religion, that the Veda is known as their most sacred text, and that the Ramayana and Mahabharata are recognized as some of the greatest epics worldwide.
But beyond what is commonly known, the sacred writings and the texts of Hinduism hold profound depth and interesting categories. It is important to understand that their sacred texts are divided into two categories: Shruti, meaning what is heard, and Smritis, meaning what is remembered. The subcategories that lie beneath these two reveal the fascinating world that exists within the religion.
First, let us talk about the Shruti texts, the ones that were heard and then recorded in the Vedas. This category is subdivided into four, mainly the Rig Veda, the oldest and most vital, consisting hymns and rituals meant to honor gods and goddesses; the Sama Veda, which are musical versions of the Rig Veda; the Yajur Veda, recited during sacrificial ceremonies and rituals; and the Atharva Veda, consisting of practical and magical prayers used for various purposes such as wishing for long life, healing, and love charms.
These four types of Shruti texts are also known as the wisdom of verses, the wisdom of chants, the wisdom of sacrificial formulas, and the wisdom of the Atharvan priest, respectively connoting their meaning, purposes, and associated contexts. Additionally, each Veda is subdivided into four parts: the Aranyakas, Brahmanas, Samhitas, and Upanishads.
The first division of the Veda is Aranyakas, which centers around the lives of hermits and ascetics in the forest, later evolving into practices. The second one is Brahmanas, which are mantras explained through myths and legends. The third division is Samhitas, consisting of a series of mantras and hymns for sacrificial ceremonies and mystic rituals. Lastly, there are Upanishads, which contain concepts of Brahmans, Atman, Moksha, Maya, Karma, Samsara, and other philosophical commentaries of Hindu doctrines.
The second main category of the sacred texts of Hinduism is the remembered, known as Smritis. These include the following. First is the Itihasas, where the epic poems of Ramayana and the Mahabharata fall under. We may know the story of Ramayana as the journey of Prince Rama through self-discovery, while the Mahabharata narrates the five Pandavas and their battle against the Kauravas.
The second type of Smriti text is Puranas, focusing on topics such as the history of the universe, the genealogies of kings, heroes, and demigods, as well as the Hindu cosmology and geography. Third is the Dharma Sastra, which significantly discusses the law and rules of behavior. Lastly, there is the later sutras, which are later Hindu scriptures that explore the disciplines of yoga and self liberation. An example of this is the Yoga Sutras.
Now that we've discussed the history and sacred texts of Hinduism, we are skipping ahead to the practices and teachings through which they express and strengthen their faith. We are well aware that the beliefs and doctrines of Hinduism are truly interesting. It understands the cycle of life and death and explores the concept of reincarnation. More importantly, Hinduism is where the idea of karma originated from, which is not only popular among Hindus but among many individuals from many different religions as well.
But for now, we will focus on the particulars. First is Brahman, honored as the essence of all that exists. For Hindus, their realities solely revolve around Brahman, both unchangeably and eternally. Second is Atman, the equivalent of soul for Hinduism, considered the essence of every individual. These two are interconnected as the purpose of Atman is dedicated to reuniting with Brahman.
Besides these two, as previously mentioned, Hindus highly value the concept of deities, believing them to be different manifestations of Brahman. While they respect many deities, they regard the Trimurti as supreme, with Brahma as the creator, Vishnu as the preserver, and Shiva as the destroyer.
Furthermore, the concepts of Maya and Moksha are also among the vital teachings of Hinduism. Maya is seen as an influence in which the nature of Brahman is contradicted, leading individuals to see the world in its physical, changing, and divided persona, an idea often referred to as an illusion associated with suffering. Linked to this is the teaching of moksha, the act of liberation from the influence of illusion, freeing individuals from its chains.
Moreover, samsara and karma are two vital concepts around which their values revolve as well. Samsara is what we understand as reincarnation, where the death of an individual is followed by rebirth in another body. This is believed to be a continuous cycle. Karma plays a role in this scenario as a person's actions dictate their effects. A good person is rewarded with a good life upon reincarnation, while a bad person is punished with a bad life upon reincarnation.
Now, let us talk about Hinduism's practice of yoga, which they define as union as they consider it the path of being one with the divine and with Brahman. This practice comes with four types. First is the karma yoga, better known as the path of action, which involves performing actions in line with one's duties using one's best effort. There is also bhakti yoga, referred as to the path of devotion, which involves honoring gods and goddesses through prayer, sacrifice, and dance and song hymns.
Next is Jnana Yoga, which they call the path of knowledge, where sacred texts serve as a means to learn more about the nature of reality. Fourth is the Raja Yoga, known as the path of meditation. This is where meditative techniques are used to gain control over one's mind and thoughts. Hatha Yoga is a popular example, where physical postures are considered as exercises.
Varna is our next topic of discussion. It is a Hindu system that defines social classes. It is also divided into four. Brahmins consist of priests and teachers. Kshatriyas include kings, governors, and soldiers. Vaishyas are the merchants, agriculturists, and artisans. And finally, the lowest in the system are the Shudras, which include the laborers and service providers. Only the first three classes are allowed to study Vedas and perform Vedic rituals. They are called the twice-borns. Meanwhile, Dalits are those who do not belong to the Varna system at all.
Ashrama, on the other hand, is what Hindus call the four stages of a person's life. It starts with the Brahmachari ashrama or student life, ranging from birth to 21 years old. Next is the Grihastama ashrama, referred to as the household stage, which ranges from 21 to 42 years old. Then comes the Vanaprastha ashrama when a person reaches 42 to 63 years old. This is called the retired stage. And finally, there's the Sannyasi ashrama, the renounced stage, where a person reaches 63 to 83 years old and beyond.
Finally, the Purushartha is what Hindus know as the four basic human purposes. First among the four is moksha, the freedom of the self from both maya and samsara. Second is dharma, ensuring that their lives align with their virtues and duties. Artha refers to their pursuit of wealth and career, while kama is the pursuit of enjoyment and pleasure.
And lastly, let us give a brief background of the four major denominations of Hinduism. There is Vaishnavism, which considers Vishnu as their supreme god; Shaivism, which centers on Shiva; Shaktism, which views Shakti as their highest being; and Smartism, where all Vishnu, Shiva, Shakti, Ganesha, and Surya are regarded as the supreme god. Smartism is perceived as the liberal Hinduism.
And as this discussion comes to an end, let us keep in mind that our exploration of Hinduism does not end here. There is so much more to discover beyond what we have covered. Let us all maintain an open mind and a curious spirit, discovering what goes beyond what we have discussed and embracing the values and teachings that you can adapt from this remarkable faith.